Good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to play the infamous book number 7 of Lone Wolf, or book number 2 from the Magnakai series. As usual, let's start with the story so far. You are Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Masters of Sommlending, and the sole survivor of a massacre that destroyed your kin during a bitter war with your age-old enemies, the Dark Lords of Hel'Jedad. Many centuries have passed since Sun Eagle, the first of your kind, established the Order of the Kai. Aided by the magicians of the sea, he completed a perilous quest to find 7 crystals of power known as the Lore Stones of Nixator. Upon their discovery, he unlocked a wisdom and strength that lay within both the lore stones and himself. He recorded the nature of his discoveries and his experiences in a great tome called the Book of the Magnakai. You have discovered this lost Kai treasure, and you have given a solemn pledge to restore the Kai to their former glory, thereby ensuring the security of your land in the years to come. However, your diligent study of this ancient book has enabled you to master only 3 of the 10 Magnakai disciplines. To fulfill your pledge, you must complete the quest first undertaken by Sun Eagle over 1,000 years ago. By doing so successfully, you will acquire the power and wisdom of the Magnakai that is held within the Lore Stone's crystal forms. Much of Sun Eagle's handwritten script had faded with the passing years, and little information remained that could help you find the lost lore stones of Nixator. You could not even learn their number. Guided by the few of his words that could still be deciphered, you set out upon a journey that took you to the war-torn city of Tekaro, in the land of Slovia. There, hidden deep within the crypt of the city's cathedral, you found the first crystal, the legendary lore stone of Vareta. As you held the crystal triumphantly in your hand, its power was transfused into your being. The absolute certainty that there were actually 6 other lore stones left hidden on Magnamon formed in your mind, as well as the location of the second of the crystals, Erdos. The remote township of Erdos stands upon the shore of Lake Kor, in the heart of the Zulun Mountains of Desi. It was here that the Elder Magi, the magicians who ruled his land, helped Sun Eagle on his quest long ago. Events have now turned full circle, and once more their aid is sought by a warrior of the Kai.
Fate has brought you to us, Lone Wolf,
intones Rimoah, speaker for the High Council of the Elder Magi, as you stand before them in the Tower of Truth at Helgen.
Our fate is bound to your quest.
His clear voice fills the great cylindrical council chamber, and the other white-robed elders gathered around. You respond with one voice. It is so. Rimoah leads you to a circular dais, set like a deep well into the green marble floor. Carefully kneels and touches its liquid metal surface with his gloved hand. A current flows through the shimmering metal, and within its mirror-like depth, a strange vision slowly takes shape. You see a black-walled fortress set upon a rocky isle, its deep purple shadows reflecting in the dark waters of a moonlit lake.
You see before you Kazan-Oud. The lore stone of Erdos can be found in this castle, deep within its accursed halls. We will take you to this fortress, Lone Wolf, but you must enter alone. Unfortunately, our powers hold no sway over the forces that command this terrible place. In the years that have passed since Sun Eagle first came to this land, a great evil has consumed Kazan-Oud. We lack the means to destroy this evil, but we have labored to contain it, to prevent it from spreading beyond the Isle of Kor. Some of the bravest warriors of Magnamon have tried at our behest to defeat the power of Kazan-Oud. All have perished. But fate now brings us a Kai Master, and our hearts rejoice for the success of your quest. We'll defeat the bane of Kazan-Oud, and deliver us all from its evil shadow.
A ripple of hopeful whispers arises from the circle of elders when you state that you will go to Kazan-Oud. As they accompany you from the council chamber to equip you for the dangerous mission that lies ahead, you ask the meaning of the words Kazan-Oud. An uneasy silence descends on the dignified company, and all eyes turn to Rimoah.
In the language of the Sommlending,
He says, his voice wavering.
Castle Death.
The game rules are the same as before. There's a list of special items that we can carry over into this adventure, though, just like the previous one. Let's look at this. Kai Shield, we don't have one since we gave it up for the Bronze Sleeve Shield. Crystal Star Pendant, check. A battered padded leather waistcoat, but right now we have a brand new padded, well, kind of brand new padded leather waistcoat. Helmet, yep, helmet there. Chainmail waistcoat, yep, the summer sword. Fire Sphere, silver helm, no silver M. Dagger of Vashna, herb pad, canteen of water, and jewel mace. Oh, they don't talk about the silver bow of Duadon, the silver brooch, and the bronze sleeve shield. Those are the book 6 and onwards. There's exhibit can be done in a business adventure, blah blah blah. However, only the following. Okay. You're still limited to 2 weapons, 8 backpack items, and special items. Additional items may be left. You may also carry over any weapons, backpack items, and gold crowns that you held at the end of your last adventure. Entities may be entered in maybe carried over to one of my Magnakai series. I don't want to miss my silver bow. It's not clear here though. Because this is the same list that we had before book 6. Already have your combat skill and endurance points, which we can carry over. In book 7, however, if you need covered. Yeah, it's fine for weapons, backpack items, and gold crowns. But they're not talking about the special items. We'll see later down the road in equipment, maybe. Kai disciplines, yeah, Magnakai disciplines. We're supposed to be able to choose another one. There are 3 starting disciplines. But we should be able to take a 4th one. Written at the end. If you successfully completed the mission as set in book 7. Yeah, well, must have been written that in book 6. Decision is to gather your other Magnakai skills and equipment, including special items that you have found and been able to keep during your adventure, may then be used. Okay. Yeah, well, it says here that we can carry everything over from book 7 to 8, so it's the same for book 6 to 7, but 12 special items max. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 level. Yell. We're kind of just barely enough making it. The silver brooch, I'm not sure it will be useful. Last time it was a pain in the ass. I think we should left the silver brooch back. And we should replace the bronze sleeve shield for a Kai shield, which gives 2 combat skills. And everything else seems fine. So we lost 1 endurance point, but we had 30... 29 plus a bunch. Plus 6, plus 8. Yeah, that's 37. And I guess we're back to 28 combat skill with the shield. 2 ear. And 12, yep. 28, okay. Let's see what other equipment we can bring along. Or rather, let's take our Magnakai disciplines before going further down. We need to check the lore circles though. Fire, Light, Solaris, Spirit. So we have already Psy Surge, Psy Screen, and Psy Surge, Divination, and Nexus. So the next one is a Psy Screen to complete the lore circle of the mind. Psy Screen, if you choose the skill right. Psy Screen, no points lost when attacked by Mind Force. Oh, yes, we'll make sure that we recall that. And we have completed there the circle of the spirit. It means plus 3 combat skill. For a total of 31 and plus 3 endurance points for a total of 40. Equipment. Before leaving Elgin on your quest for the lore stone of Ferdos, the Elder Magi give you a map of their land and a pouch of gold. Find out how much gold is in the pouch. Pick a number from the random number table. That's 8. Now add 10 to the number you have picked. So we're up to 37 gold crown. The Elder Magi offer you a choice of equipment to aid you on your perilous mission. You may take your pick of the following items. Up to 5 of the following. Sword, potion of flum spur. How many we have already? 7. Okay. And we have only 1 meal, not 2, but I don't think we need the map of Tekaro anymore. I'm not sure we'll find the cartographer inside Kazan-Oud either. So we have 2 free slots in the backpack. Potion of flum spur, nope, since we have the tonor water, which is better. Can take up to 3 meals. The paddle of the waistcoat, we have already. Mace, dagger, rope. We still have our rope. We didn't die with the rope last adventure. A lantern. It's a self-lighting lantern, or a magical lantern. Don't need a tinderbox or any means of creating a flames to light it, but we have the fire sphere anyway. 3 fire seeds, special items. When thrown against a hard surface, these fire seeds explode and burn fiercely. 1 fire seed can be thrown at an opponent at the start of the battle instead of drinking a potion. If you do so, pick a number on a random number table. Well, we could carry those. We have space in our... Oh, the air pouch. That was... but we need curing for that. Yeah, I guess it will be fire seeds and meals. So 3 fire seeds. And we will have max special items, I think, with that. 4, 8. Yeah. It's 1 random number table minus the last digit, no, the first digit of the combat skill of the enemy. The result is the number of endurance points lost by the foe at the start of the combat. And 0 means no damage. Fire Seed does not work on enemies made of fire or water, or on foes immune to physical damage. If we add in our pouch, it could be sent into the air pouch, but we don't. 1d10 minus tens of C enemy CS equal less endurance point. Okay, fire seed. You don't need a lantern, but 2 meal to full a backpack, I guess. And we'll be good to go. To carry equipment and use same as before. Levels of Magnakai training. We're now a primate. Rules for combat, they are the same as before. House rules are the same as before as well. If we die, we're going to go back to our previous choice. If we die in combat, we're going to go through unless there's an escape option that we will take instead of dying. It's pretty much it. Prove disciplines. So a little bit of Magnakai Wisdom for the beginning of the book. Your quest for the Lore Stone of Erdos will be fraught with danger, for the fortress of Kazan-Oud has a dark and sinister reputation. It has been the ruin of many a brave adventurer. Make notes as you progress through the story, for they will be of great help in this and future adventures. Many things that you find will help you during your adventure. Some special items will be of use to you in future Lone Wolf adventures, but others may be red herrings of no real use at all. So try to be selective in what you decide to keep. Choose your 3 Magnakai disciplines with care, for a wise choice can enable any player to complete a quest in no matter how weak their combat initial skill and endurance points scores are. Successful completion of previous Lone Wolf adventures may be advantageous, but it is not an essential prerequisite for the successful completion of this Magnakai adventure. May the gods Kai and Ishir and the spirits of your brave ancestors guide and protect you on your noble quest to the fearsome fortress of Kazan-Oud, for Sommlending and the Kai. Book number 7, or 2, of the Magnakai series. Castle Death. The hours leading up to your departure from Helgen are spent checking and double-checking your equipment and provisions. Yet no matter how hard you try to concentrate on these preparations, your mind is constantly invaded by the shadowy image of Kazan-Oud. It is an image identical to the vision that appeared to the previous evening in the well of the council chamber. It fills you with a sense of deep dread. It is as if you are seeing a vision of your own grave. However, coupled to this terrible sense of foreboding is a far greater and irresistible desire to fulfill your quest by finding and retrieving the Lore Stone of Erdos. Shortly before dawn, your thoughts are disturbed by a knock at the door of your chamber. It is Rimoah. Time has come for your mission to begin. You follow him through halls and galleries to a rooftop platform nestling among the crimson towers of the Temple of Truth. Here you are greeted by a young man. He is tall and dark-skinned, with plaited flaxen hair and sharp cat-like eyes. He wears the gold and scarlet tunic of a Vaqueros, a warrior magician of Desi. "Ah, Lord Paido," says Rimoah, bowing to this proud young man. "Hail, my Lord Rimoah," he replies respectfully. "We are ready to sail." The first rays of the dawn light shimmer along the golden hull of the starry messenger, a magnificent skyship that hovers above the rooftop platform. As the hum of its powerful engine rises, you thank Rimoah and bid him farewell before following Lord Paido to the boarding ladder at the edge of the platform. Once safely aboard, the skyship rises into the chill dawn air, and Lord Rimoah and the Tower of Truth shrink swiftly beneath its golden keel. You look down with growing fascination as this sleek, bat-winged craft passes over the encircling waters of the Elgin Canal and speeds northward above the jungles of central Desi. As the grey chasm of Gorgoron looms into view, splitting the emerald green land like a deep and terrible wound, Lord Paido joins you at the rail. Time passes in conversation, and you learn much about the people and history of this untamed land. You learn that the elder Magi, her halted remain, of a race of great magicians who ruled central Magnamon many thousands of years ago. They were wise and powerful, and their leadership was great until their numbers were decimated by a plague that swept across Magnamon. Those who survived sought refuge in this sea, and have lived here, in the mountains and the jungles ever since. The Vaqueros are native soldiers of Desi, who have been taught the art of battle magic by the elder Magi to help them defend the northern border against invasion by the warlike Vesegonians. When you tell Lord Pydo of your own past battles with the desert warriors, you sense sadness within him. Oh, I wish my brother Kazin were here with us now, he says, staring thoughtfully towards the distant horizon. He could tell many a brave tale of the great desert wars. You ask what has become of his brother. There is a long pause before he replies, solemnly. Kazan-Oud. The land of Desi is now spread out beneath you like a gigantic map. To the northwest you can see the foothills of the Carcass Range and a faint ribbon-like glimmer that is the River Doi. To the east a bank of grey storm clouds advances unchecked across a sea of jungle vegetation. Shortly before noon your destination comes into view. The low domed buildings of Erdos appear on the horizon, followed by the waters of Lake Kor and a blackened finger of rock upon which sits Kazan-Oud. Even at this great distance, the awesome sight of the terrible fortress sends a chill coursing down your spine. Lord Pydo orders his crew to prepare for landing, and within the hour the great sky ship is casting its shadow upon the flagstones of the Plaza Ferdos. You are welcomed by Lord Arden, Elder of Ferdos, and a detachment of his Vaqueros guards. They escort you through the street of the ancient town, past the tiny stone-walled dwellings of fishermen and miners, to a quay where a glass dome tower several stories high commands access to the busy harbor. As you enter the tower, you notice that the glass dome radiates a greenish light that, in spite of the blinding glare of the midday sun, can be seen quite clearly. Later, as the sun sinks slowly behind the peaks of the mountains, the light emanating from the tower becomes ever more visible, covering Lake Kor with an umbrella of ghostly luminescence. Lord Arden explains. This tower, together with 5 others that encircle the lake, generates a shield of magical energy that imprisons the evil of Kazan-Oud. No creature, living or deceased, can enter or leave the Isle of Kor so long as our shield remains intact. We dare not lower our guard. However, in order to allow you to land on the island, we have devised a means by which you may pass through the shield unarmed. He takes a gem the size of a small apple from the pocket of his silken robe and places it in your hand. It is a dull, translucent red, but within its core a swirling mist of glittering sparks flickers with gold and silver fire. It is a power key. Its magic will shield you during your exploration. Guard it well, for as long as you possess it, you may fulfill your quest. Lose it and you will never escape from the Isle of Kor. Mark the power key on your action chart as a special item. Does it take a space? I guess that it does. Okay. What do we drop? I guess the fire seeds didn't live long. 4, 8. Yep, well, goodbye fire seeds. It was nice knowing you. For Alpha chapter. Power key. It gives 2 endurance points over our total.
which is kind of nice. Better than fire seeds, I guess. 42 endurance points then. At midnight, my vaqueros will take you by boat to the edge of the shield. On board is a small coracle in which you can pass through the shield and make your way to the Isle of Kor. We shall pray for your success, Lone Wolf. Midnight finds you standing on the deck of a square-rigged fishing boat. The sighing night wind and the creak of rope and timber are the only sounds that accompany you across the black waters of Lake Kor. You arrive at a wall of shimmering green light. It is the power shield. The vaqueros whisper their goodbyes and watch as you paddle through the wall, drawing closer with every stroke to the sinister highland fortress. 200 yards from the glistening black shoreline, you know 2 places where you can make a landing. If you choose to land at a stone jetty located to the west of Kazan-Oud, or we can decide to land at a sheltered bay located to the east of Kazan-Oud. As we say, always towards the east, but even without saying that, I think I prefer a sheltered bay to a stone jetty, which is an open view, I guess, and the most logical place to land a boat. So let's go to the sheltered bay on the east side of Kazan-Oud. Vivid green flashes of forked lightning and the rumble of distant thunder add menace to the towers and sheer stone walls of Kazan-Oud. Many of the roofs and turrets are in ruin. Their twisted beams and floors lay open to the sky, giving the fortress a burned out and deserted appearance. As you approach the tiny bay, which is tucked inside the shelter of a horseshoe reef of jagged black rocks, your eye is caught by the glow of tiny red lights. They're moving in the shadows at the base of the fortress wall. You notice a dry hollow among a group of rocks close to the shore, which offers an ideal hiding place for your little boat. Silently you disembark and drag the coracle up the beach towards the rocks. Then you are halted dead in your tracks by the sound of muffled squealing. Sweat breaks out on your brow when a flash of lightning reveals scores of small red eyes close to the sand. A seething flood of rats, each as large as a puppy but gaunt and half-starved, is scurrying down the beach towards you like a torrent of hellish black water. With a pounding heart, you search for some means of escape from this ravenous horde of squealing, snapping rodents. You can either climb over the rocks and escape across a deserted beach, or decide to drag the little boat back into the lake and paddle away from the bay, or stand and fight the onrushing flood of giant rats. I think the boat is lost, and we need to climb on the rocks. A new sound is added to the terrible squeals of the hungry rats, the sound of splintering wood. In less than a minute your small boat is completely devoured, leaving no trace of its ever having existed. The jagged rocks cut deep into your hands and knees, lose 1 endurance points. Well, we're going to get back the endurance points next section anyway, because of the not curing but the other healing Kai discipline. Yet you're oblivious to the pain as you clamber across them to the beach beyond. You set off at a run, but the fine black sand closes around your ankles and your legs ache violently with every desperate step you take. A glance over your shoulder tells you that the pack is gaining ground rapidly. They will be on you before you can reach the rocky base of Kazan-Oud. Then abruptly the squealing stops,
For some reason, the black tide has halted at the edge of the beach. Their white teeth snap on empty air, and their hungry eyes watch your every movement. But every single one of them is now rooted to the rocks. As you turn to make your escape, you wonder why the rats no longer pursue you. Less than 10 feet ahead lies the horrific answer to your question. Let's make a little map update when we're here. Erdos, we started here at Elgin. And we crossed the chasm of Gorgoron with the airship over to Erdos. And we entered Kazan-Oud. And I believe that we will never leave this place for the rest of the adventure. And it will most probably be the last time that we're going to see this map. A great toad-like face stares unblinkingly into your eyes as it emerges from the shadows to bask in the green light illuminating the beach. Its body, pale and bloated like a huge fat earthworm, slithers into view, and you shudder at the sight of the open sores that disfigure its pallid skin. A ghastly noise echoes from deep within its open mouth as it rears up to attack you with a razor-sharp tongue. Due to the unexpected swiftness of its attack, you cannot make use of a bow. Zagotal. A combat skill of 29. Here. 2 over. And endurance points, 28. A solid fight, but not too hard, most probably. If you choose to, you may evade after 2 rounds. If you have the Magnakai discipline of invisibility, we don't. Alright, so it's a fight to the dead. Kind of. With the +2 combat ratio, we need to roll, yeah, a 4 and higher sounds quite good. I think we can roll 3 dice safely. 4, 9, and 6. So a 4, it's 7 against 3. 9's a clean good hit, 12, 0 for a total of 19, 3. And a 6 is a 9, 2 for 28 against 5. Oh, did I say 28? 7, 19, 28. Yeah, oh. Dead in 3. 3 hits. We need 5 sections to get back our endurance points lost. The hideous creature emits a deafening cry when you strike your final blow. It crashes to the ground, displacing a ton of sand as its massive bulk settles on the beach. Attached to a heavy black chain around its loathsome midriff is a gold key. It's a special item that we keep in our pocket and takes a space. Ooh. I'm not sure what can we drop there. Maybe the padded leather waistcoat, because usually we can take another one at the beginning of the adventure. Yeah, I think we can remove that. Too many items. Means 40 endurance points. Next time I should leave a bunch of weapons like the jewel mace. I should leave the jewel mace back at the monastery next time. Well, this endurance points to regain now. Your victory raises your spirits, but they soon sink again when you hear the unmistakable sound of the rats. The chase has resumed. The frenzied squealing of the rats fills your ears as you force your aching legs to propel you across the beach. Beyond an outcrop of pitted stone, a stream cascades down the sheer rock wall. It cuts a deep gully across the beach as it flows away into the lake. Spanning this gully is a natural bridge of stone. Its center is very thin and narrow, and as you near the bridge, you fear it will be too fragile to support your weight. If you have the Magnakai discipline of divination, we do. You sense that the bridge is strong enough to support your weight, but only so long as it is not subjected to any sudden or violent shock. Such a shock could easily open up one of the many cracks that riddle its core. Forewarned by your Kai mastery, you step onto the bridge and advance with trepidation. As you reach the center of the bridge, the leading rats come flowing up the slope of the arch. You turn and confront them, drawing a weapon in preparation for a fight to the death if necessary. As they swarm nearer, you lash out at the leading one, cleaving them from the narrow apex to splash into the torrent of water below. With your third blow, a violent shudder runs through the stone, causing you to stagger and fall. You land on the opposite bank, winded but otherwise unarmed. A loud crack fills the night, and then the whole center section of the bridge collapses into the gully with a tremendous splash. Safe now from the ravenous pack of rats, you can afford to continue along the beach at a less punishing pace. The stone blocks of a fallen tower lie scattered in an uneven line across the beach, like the vertebrae of some long-dead giant. Lightning flashes and you glimpse a wide breach in the battlements of Kazan-Oud, where the tower once stood. A stone staircase rises from the beach to the top of the ruined curtain wall, but sections of it are missing. They must have been torn away when the tower collapsed. We can either attempt to climb the stairs to the fortress, or continue making our way along the beach. The beach is kind of dangerous, but I feel like the stairs are quite in open view as well. But I guess it will go quicker with the stairs though. Begin with, the shattered steps and hollows pose no problem that your agility and skill cannot overcome. However, as you are nearing the top of the stairs, you suddenly find yourself staring into a yawning void. The steps have been sheared away, leaving a gap over 20 feet wide. If you have the Magnakai Discipline of Nexus and wish to use it, here we do, let's use it. A number of trees were unearthed by the falling tower, and one of them lies balanced precariously over the edge of the rock wall above. You focus your Kai mastery on this trunk, and after a great mental exertion, you cause it to topple over the edge. As it crashes down the stairs, you fight to steer it end over end, so that it comes to rest across the gap. However, it gathers speed too quickly, and it is soon falling out of control. Pick a number from the random number table. If your current endurance total is 20 or more, add 2, which is 10. If it's 9 or higher, mustering your reserves of psychic strength, you focus your skill on the tumbling trunk. You manage to slow its fall and lock one end of it into a hollow in the last stair. For a moment it stands upright, wavering from side to side like a gigantic metronome. Then it falls across the gap with a tremendous crash. When the dust clears, you find yourself staring at a perfect bridge. You waste no time traversing the gap, and quickly you make your way up the stairs, the breached fortress wall. Stepping carefully through the slime-smeared rubble, you stop for a moment to catch your breath and survey the shattered keep of Kazan-Oud. It is a desolate sight. Only stone buildings remain intact, and everything is covered with creepers and mildew. A great fire must have ravaged the inner fortress to have resulted in such total devastation. In the center of the keep stands the Great Hall. It is still an imposing stronghold, and made all the more frightening by constant flashes of green lightning. Beyond its burned and fungus-covered wooden door, twisted tree forms with sharp barbed thorns sprawl across the cragged flagstones like coils of steel wire. You are about to enter when a movement in the air around your head arrests you. A shape is taking form in the doorway, a shadowy figure with flaming red eyes. An icy chill grips your heart as it sweeps past you with a swirling rush of wind. You spin around to see it hovering in the sky. Its shadowy end now grips a great spiked ball and chain. It shrieks an unearthly cry, and the ball whistles down towards your unprotected face. If you have the Magnakai Discipline of Psy-Screen, yes we do. Your psychic senses tell you that what you see before you is an illusion. The Odakon is a spectral force placed here by a powerful magician and activated by anyone or anything that dares to approach the door to the Great Hall. Mustering your courage, you challenge the illusion by commanding it to disperse. The shadow, which seconds before looked all too real, rapidly dissolves like a mist into the chill night air. All that remains of the apparition is a fading cry of frustrated anger that echoes through the ruins of the keep. And there we go, we can enter Kazan-Oud. And we're back to full HP. A while. Let's put on the adventure music. Welcome to Kazan-Oud. Stealthily, you move across the cragged flagstone floor of the Great Hall, with your muscles and nerves tense for sounds of danger. The constant noise of dripping water and the howl of the storm add to the utter desolation of this chamber. A thorny jungle of briars climbs the walls with greedy claws, coiling around the rodent frames of paintings and weaving through damp and moldering tapestries. Suspended above the fireplace is a great Anarian broadsword, its pitted steel blade pointing to one side. Your eyes travel along the blade to the shadows of the fireplace, and you notice something lying in the grate. Moving nearer, you see that it is the body of a dead man. Behind it is a panel, wedged open by the corpse, and peering into the gloomy opening, you can just make out some stairs disappearing down into the darkness beyond. We can examine the dead body, or ignore the body and explore the secret passage instead. We shall check the body and get clues about his death. The first thing that catches your attention is the warrior's lack of wounds. Oh. No sword cuts nor arrow shafts pierce his armor. If it were not for the unmistakable smell of death, you could be forgiven for thinking that he was sleeping deeply. You turn the body over to take a look at his face and recoil in shock at the sight that greets you. The eyes are missing, leaving two ghastly black holes. The tongue hangs out, dark and sullen, and from the corners of this twisted mouth oozes a thick greenish fluid. Filled with revulsion, you back away from the body and step into the secret passage. Dead by poison? Dead by ingesting creature fluids? Descending the narrow staircase, you soon arrive at a tunnel-like corridor that is sandwiched between two walls of moldering masonry. Foul, oily water gurgles along a channel in the slippery floor towards a distant archway that is blocked by an age-blackened iron portcullis. Bolted to its crisscross of bars is a plaque, which bears a curious design. On the wall to your left is a large rusty dial with a brass pointer. Set around it like the numerals of a clock are the numbers 1 to 40. Below the dial there is a lever. Your basic Kai instincts tell you that by selecting the correct number or numbers and pulling the lever, you will cause the portcullis to open. If you have the Magnakai discipline of divination. You do. Divination and all the lore circle of spirit is paying a lot in this adventure so far. You sense that the trap guards this portal. If you should choose the wrong number or numbers before pulling the lever, then the consequences could prove fatal. You ponder the problem for several minutes, using your natural Kai instincts to the full as you try to discover which of the numbers on the dial will open the portcullis. The image of 4 numbers. 3, 9, 13, and 33. Fill your mind, but try as you might, you cannot determine which of them is correct. Quite random. So we have 3, 9, 13, and 33. And if we go back to the previous section to see the lake, the other previous one, it's a triangle with 3 rows of triangles inside. The last row at the bottom contains only 1 triangle pointing downwards. The second row has 3 triangles, and the top row has 5 triangles embedded into each other. Strong chances that the number at the bottom must be the one to put there. And I feel like it's a kind of magical number. I think I'm going to gamble 9 for the magic number 9. And 3. 33. Yeah, I feel like it should be 9. A faint rumble grows louder. Then there is a clatter of chains and the squeal of metal on metal as the portcullis rises jerkily into the roof. Wasting no time, you duck under the spiked bars and hurry off into the tunnel beyond. Whew. I hope that's the correct one. You have taken but a few steps when you hear a faint whispering sound. Wet horrified as the hard stone floor beneath your feet is transformed into a yawning black hole. Oh. Helplessly you tumble into the void. Maybe the correct answer was the non-divisible number and not the magic number. A few moments later, you are knocked unconscious when your head smashes against a jagged crop of rock as you plummet into the pit's unknown depth. Well, we're not dead yet. You regain consciousness with a start, reaching instinctively for your weapon lest danger be waiting to greet you. A dull throbbing fills your head as you sit up to take stock of your surroundings. You find yourself on top of a mound of rotting vegetation stacked high in a corner of shadowy chamber. A harsh reptilian odor fills your nostrils, the unmistakable smell of snakes. As your vision clears, you notice amid the slime that covers the floor what appear to be undigested human bones. A rib cage, 2 skulls, a thigh bone, and several vertebrae are illuminated by a shaft of light which descends from a grill in the ceiling. It flickers, and for a fleeting moment, you catch a glimpse of a skull-like face through the iron bars. Fear wells up inside you as a chilling laugh pierces the silence. Yet it is not the sound of the cruel, inhuman laughter that freezes your blood. It is the sight of the colossal, wedge-shaped head that is rearing up through the mound on which you are sitting. It is the head of a gigantic snake. You leap to your feet and run to the far corner of the chamber, your blood pounding loudly in your ears. The snake rises up almost to the ceiling, its forked tongue flickering angrily below a single yellow eye, which is set deep in the center of its scaly green head. Once more the chamber echoes to cruel laughter as the monster shakes off its rotting nest and slithers forward. If you have the Magnakai discipline of animal control, nope. If you have a bow, yeah, silver bow of Duadon. To your horror, you discover that the quiver is completely empty. Oh, damn. Your arrows have fallen out and lie buried in the nest of vegetation, upon which you awoke. Erase all of your arrows from your action chart. Yeah, damn arrows and quivers. When falling down, that's what always happens. With a cry of frustration, you discard your bow. Well, I hope that I just put it on my shoulder. I don't want to throw the silver bow of Duadon. And unsheath a hand weapon as the snake draws itself back in preparation to strike at your chest. The snake reveals its fangs, like a pair of great curved broadswords glistening with venom. They shine coldly in the light that pours down through the grating eye above. You grip your weapon, bracing your back against the wet stone wall as you await the right moment to strike. As the monstrous head sways awkwardly from side to side, you catch sight of a small tunnel cut out of the far wall. It was previously hidden from view by the snake in its nest. Your spirits are raised by the possibility of escaping from this nightmare, but first you must fight this hideous creature. If you have any arrows knotted in your quiver, you must now erase them from your action chart, for they have fallen out and been lost during your fall. A giant Actaraton. Combat skill 22, not so bad. So, yeah. The +9 combat ratio. And the creature has 60 endurance point. Alright. Would be a long fight, but we have a really good combat ratio though. Unless you have the Magnakai discipline of curing and have reached the rank of primate, double all endurance you lose during this combat due to the venomous bite of this fearsome monster. After 4 rounds of combat, you may attempt to evade the creature by crawling into the tunnel. Let's see how it goes. 60 endurance points, that's a lot. For a +9 combat ratio, can roll 9 or higher for instant victory, but otherwise, pretty much anything is really good. I think that you can safely roll 4 dice here. Oh, damn. Dead, 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 dead. Well, the Ectaraton had no chance at all. With a roll of 10, 10, 9, and 10. Well, so much wasted 10 there. Well, sorry for the battle music, didn't last long. I thought it would be a more worthy battle. A maniacal scream of anger echoes from behind the grating as the giant snake crashes lifelessly to the ground. Suddenly, bolts of red fire are raining down all around you, splintering the stone floor and leaving nothing but molten cinders wherever they strike. You clamber across the body of the snake and dive into the tunnel to avoid this hissing rain of crimson death. To your dismay, you discover the tunnel is no more than a shallow cave. It provides shelter for a clutch of huge eggs, each one as big as a barrel of ale. They rest upon a bed of packs and torn clothing, the last remains of adventurers who fell afoul of the traps of Kazan-Oud. We can examine these items more closely or search a way to escape. Well, we can wait for the crimson rain to die down and look around. The eggs are warm and you can feel tiny movements through their leathery shells. Carefully, you roll them aside and sift through the debris of the nest. Here you discover several items of interest. A mace. But let's keep the eggs. A padded leather waistcoat, the same thing that we threw away a short while ago. A sword, a helmet, already have one. A blanket, bottle of wine, dagger, and potion of lumspur. We don't need anything in that. Yeah. The sound of a bolt and the creak of a dry hinge echoes from the chamber behind you, causing your pulse to race anew. Pick a number for the random number table. 0. Is it good for a 10 or a 0? I don't recall. Let's check the game rules just to be sure. I don't recall it. Oh, here. No, that's for the combat skill. But usually 0 is good. So I think I'm going this way as well. That 0 is a good roll. Just to keep the consistency. Which means that 0 is 10. So 5 or higher. Rolling really a bunch of 10s tonight. Well, it's a good thing for my players tomorrow. The Dungeons and Dragons game, since I'm wasting all my crits right now. Desperately, you tap the wall with the hilt of your weapon, praying for the dull telltale thud of a tin or hollow partition, through which you might effect an escape. The walls yield no such sound, but in the roof you discover an old trapdoor hatch that has been sealed off with the bricks and mortar. A faint glimmer of light seeping through a hairline crack fills you with renewed hope. With a flurry of blows, the mortar crumbles and the bricks split and fall. Without waiting for the dust to settle, you climb through the jagged hole and emerge into a hall that is filled with a damp and earthy smell. 2 rows of great stone pillars support the roof, and a huge granite sarcophagus stands in the center of the floor. From within a black tunnel to your right, you can hear the clanking of armor and the sound of approaching footsteps. You can hide behind one of the pillars, or leave the hall by a tunnel to the left. Or simply lie in ambush for whatever is approaching. I I think that an ambush is a good idea, because the thing will most probably pursue us further down. Taking up a position to one side of the tunnel, you press yourself flat against the wall and wait for the best moment to strike. 4 warriors, dark and grim, march into the hall in single file. At first sight, you mistake them for Dracarim, for their black plate armor and skull-like helmets are almost identical to those worn by the evil humanoid warriors who serve the Dark Lords of Eljadad. As you launch your attack, you catch sight of their features and realize that they cannot possibly be human. Great sloping shoulders support their unnaturally long arms, and yellow-clawed hairy hands grip axes and spears of rough wrought iron. Beyond them swing long, tufted tails, like those of lions. Your first blow shears through the back plate of the last warrior in the line, causing him to howl like a demon and collapse in a crumpled heap at your feet. The others spin to face you, their reactions battle swift, their weapons drawn and raised to counter your threat. The leader throws open his visor to reveal a boar-like snout and tusks. He bellows a fearsome growl and stabs at you with his spear. The others echo his cry and close around you. You cannot evade his combat and must fight all three as one enemy. Is that a beastman? Combat skill 28. So it's a +3 combat ratio. And endurance points 35. 15 each, in other words. No other options than to fight a +3 combat ratio. We need to roll 3 or 4 and higher for good results. I think we can safely roll. Yeah, I guess 3 dice for sure. A 2, a 10, and a 6. A 2 is 6 against 3 damage. A 10 is 16 against 0. So we're 22 against 3. And a 6 is 10 against 2. So we're 32 against 5. And a little roll on the top. Yeah, it's dead. No chances at all. I think it was the hardest fight so far. Well, not really, but the one that we had the most difficulty to win with the rolls, or the less good rolls of the night. Say that like this. Swiftly you search the bodies of the slain beastmen, looking for anything that could shed some light on the mysteries of this dreadful fortress. After emptying their packs and pockets, you sift through the following items: 2 axes, 1 bow, 2 spears, 1 quiver with 4 arrows. Enough food for 4 meals, a pouch of herbs, and a flask of wine. Well, I guess it's time to take a pouch of herbs. And maybe drop a meal. Yeah, I guess how it will go. I'll be able to carry herbs in the pouch. If you have the Magnakai discipline of curing, nope. Can examine the sarcophagus, or leave the owl by the tunnel on the left, or enter the tunnel from which the beastman appeared, which wasn't an option before. Let's look at the sarcophagus first. The sarcophagus is covered with intricate carvings depicting a procession of strange creatures. Some are part human, part animal. Others are wholly alien to anything you have ever encountered before. One carving in particular holds your attention. It depicts the snake coiled around a row of 3 stone buttons. It reminds you of a lock designed by a locksmith of Olmgard, the capital city of your homeland. Your keen eyes are drawn to a faint crack that runs vertically through the stone. You follow the line of this crack and trace the outline of a concealed door. We can open the concealed door, or take one of the other tunnels. But a concealed door seems always like a nice thing to try. If this lock operates in the same way as those made by Locksmith's Guild of Holmgard, you will need only press each button once to open the door. So in which order should you press them? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, or 1, 3, 2. Could be totally anything, but it's tempting to try 1, 2, 3, but I guess I'll go 2, 1, 3. And I need to go to section 2, 1, 3 with that. There is a click, and the panel slides open to reveal the small, dimly lit interior of the sarcophagus. A set of stairs descends to a strong wooden door that is reinforced with strips and studs of age-blackened iron. Yup, 2 on 3. Such a lucky gamble. We can enter the sarcophagus and check this door. In a matter of seconds, the exit is sealed off completely. A loud hissing fills your ears and a strangely bitter smell assails your nostrils. By the time you realize that the air is being flooded with a powerful sleep gas, pumped in through tiny vents near the door, you are already succumbing to its irresistible power. Oh, sounds bad. The book always let us think that we solved the puzzle, but it's never the case. You awake to such an astounding sight that you feel sure you must be dreaming. Before you lies a titanic circular hall of glittering marble, rising chair upon chair like a gigantic amphitheater. A vast pit fills its center, from out of which there rises a pinnacle of black iron. It is licked by sheets of flame that roar up from the depths below. Scores of seated creatures crowd the chairs, every one of them staring at you, their eyes like pinpoints of malevolent fire gleaming coldly from the shadows of their hooded robes. You hear the rustle of their mocking laughter, and your skin prickles with eerie premonition. A great gong booms in the distance, and a doleful chant arises from the crowded chairs. An urge to run from this evil place grips you like a fever, but your wrists are manacled securely to a bronze ring fixed to the wall above your head. Sounds like the cover of the book. There we are, in the middle of Castle Death. Let the trial commence, commands a mighty voice, filling the hall with clamoring echoes. As one, the road spectators rise from their seats as a shaft of light pours down upon the pinnacle, illuminating the outline of a man, white-haired and gaunt, seated on a massive throne of solid gleaming gold. Suspended in the air above his head are two crystals. One sparkles like a polished diamond, the other is as black as the grave.
I don't really see that on the book, though.
A crackling arc of energy travels between the two, and its flickering blue light sheds a ghostly shadow on the face of the seated lord.
Yeah, I guess we don't really see them because of the lightning arcs.
Intruder, says, his voice soft yet chilling. You have come, Kazan-Oud, with murder in your heart. Have not the cowards of Elgin promised to reward you for my destruction? A drone of dissent surges from the crowded chairs, drowning any answer that you could offer in your defense. The Lord rises slowly from the throne and turns to his baying minions, his hands outstretched as if to receive their adulation. As their ghastly drone grows louder, your eye is drawn to the sparkling crystal that hovers above the throne. A golden light is ignited at its core. In a sudden flash of understanding, you realize that this is the object of your quest. Here is the lore stone of Herdos. Your verdict, my children, cries the wild-eyed man, his voice now harsh and angry. Guilty, Lord Zara! The crowd howls in reply. The sentence, retorts their master. The maze! Scream. The maze! If you possess the summer sword. Please don't take the summer sword. A rickety, hunchbacked creature, swathed in a hooded robe, approaches the platform on which you stand manacled to the wall. With an efficiency born of practice, quickly it strips you of all your weapons and hands them to an ugly-faced dwarf hovering at its side. The dwarf looks at the summer sword with an appraising eye and then raises it above its head to show it to his master. Before he can speak, there is a sudden roar as a bolt of golden energy engulfs the hilt. Screaming with pain, the dwarf drops the sword and cradles his smoking hand, his fingers now missing half their length. You are unable to hide your smile, and you are quickly punished for your insolence. The robed creature strikes you across the face, gashing your cheek with its rough, warty fist. Lose one endurance point. Take the Kai to the maze, commands white-haired Lord Zada, and leave the sword for me. The summer sword rises into the air and floats towards the golden throne on a cushion of blue mist. As you are dragged from the hall in chains, you are taunted by Zada's cruel laugh, and the fear that your quest may now be doomed to failure. Erase all weapons. And weapon-like special items from your action chart. Oh, when we carry the dagger of Vashna, we lose permanently 3 endurance points. Forgot to do that. Well, it never changed anything anyway. So, we're losing the summer sword, the dagger of Vashna, the jewel mace, the silver bow of Duadon, our axe, and our bow. I want to erase them just in case we find them back later. They say to make a note of them on a separate piece of paper in case we discover them at a later stage of our adventure. So we lose 8 combat skill because of the summer sword. And that's pretty much it. I feel so weak now. An escort of armored guards pushes you along a steel passageway lined by a crowd of jeering minions. They punch and spit as you pass between them, and their foul curses ring in your ears. The guards halt before a huge door of iron and unlock the manacles that encase your bruised and bloodied wrists. The points of their spears never wander far from your throat, discouraging any attempt at escape. The door rumbles open and a cheer goes up as you are pushed headfirst into a foul-smelling pit. Welcome to the maze, sneers the chilling voice of Lord Zada from somewhere high above your head. You struggle to your feet and peer up at a ceiling of swirling mist. A faint glow is gradually taking shape, condensing and forming into the likeness of a human skull. Baleful green eyes stare down at you from bony sockets, and a powdered wig, like that of a high court judge, sits squarely upon its fleshless head. You came here to kill, but your plans have been foiled, and now you must face the consequences, goes a voice in the skull. You have been sentenced to enter the maze of Zada. If you escape, your life may be spared. If you fail, then you will surely die. A fitting end for one who came here in search of death. The skull retreats into the mist, and a chilling silence fills the pit. A semicircular shadow forms on the wall ahead. It grows larger and darker until it resembles the mouth of a cave or a tunnel. Suddenly, a gust of chill air whistles from out of this darkness, and you realize that you are staring at the entrance to the maze. Enter, orders the voice. Enter or die where you stand. It is no idle threat. A crossbow bolt slams into the sand barely inches from your feet, and the click of a steel drawstring warns that another will follow if you disobey the command. Reluctantly, you step forward and enter the maze of Zada. I think there's a disadvantage of some kind by not having weapon in a fight. Ah, yeah, it's written down there. -4. It hurts. Let's write it down here until we find another weapon. You're standing in a passage, the walls and floor of which are completely sheer and smooth. Overhead swirls a mist that gives off a dim, diffuse light. It is just sufficient enough for you to be able to see your way ahead. Without your weapons, you feel naked and vulnerable, but you take some comfort in the fact that you still have your backpack, your gold crowns, and your special items. And they're not weapons. Cautiously, you walk along the passage, expecting the unexpected, until you arrive at a circular vault. Here, upon a block of marble, in the center of the floor, lies a steel sword. As you step into the vault, slabs of stone sink into the floor to reveal two exits. One to your left, the other to your right. If you have the Magnakai discipline of divination up size screen, we do have both. The sword itself appears plain and unremarkable, but the block on which it rests gives off a strong aura of magic. Your Kai mastery makes you wary of stepping any closer. If you have the Magnakai discipline of Nexus, by focusing your Kai skill upon the sword, you can make it rise up from the marble block and move through the air towards you. Let's take a risk, I guess. In response to your psychic power, the sword rises up from the block and glides towards your open hand. It is a plain, heavy-bladed weapon of poor quality, unworthy of your scabbard, But in this strange and hostile maze, this rough steel blade helps to restore your hopes of survival. Yeah, it brings me back to 23 combat skill. I'll wait before writing down the sword, just in case. Can leave by the left tunnel or right tunnel, so let's go left. After a few hundred yards, the passage turns abruptly to the right. Glinting in the dim light is a cluster of huge bubbles. They are floating languidly up and down in the passage ahead. A slight breeze lifts them and slowly they come bouncing towards you. If you choose to push your way past them and continue on your way along the passage, or if you have a sword and wish to strike, or you can decide to avoid them and return to the right tunnel. I feel safer striking at them. You cleave a path through the bubbles as easily as if you were sighting cobwebs. As your sword punctures their jelly-like skins, they implode and plop to the floor in limp tatters. You move on with your eyes peeled for the slightest hint of danger. A shadow on the floor in the distance makes you wary. Your anxiety soon turns to dismay when you get closer. It is a deep, dark pit which fills the entire corridor. There appears to be no way across it. Staring at the opposite side, more than 30 feet away, you ponder the impossible task confronting you. And a glow in the misty ceiling heralds the unwelcome return of the skull. The path across defies your sight. Find the path for stay and fight. If you have the Magnakai discipline of sight screen or divination, we do have both. You sense that a bridge hidden by a powerful spell or of invisibility spans the pit. Kneeling at the edge, you sweep your hand back and forth in the hope of locating it. However, before you can detect its whereabouts, a noise in the passage behind makes you stop and turn. The sound of heavy footsteps is growing louder, but the passageway looks completely deserted. Frantically, you continue your search for the invisible bridge. Pick a number on the random number table. 10. You're rolling so high. It's 5 or higher. You sweep the yawning void, but with no success. Abruptly, the footsteps halt. You hear a piercing crack, like that of a whip, and an angry red welt opens across the back of your hand. Lose 2 endurance points, or just 1 if you are wearing a sleeve shield. Oh, seriously? Ah, the sleeve shield! But it's at the monastery. You feel his presence, but you cannot see the enemy who has dealt you this stinging wound. Can continue to search for a crossing or stand and fight. I think if we continue to search, he's going to knock us into the pit. And we fight the invisible thing with only a cheap sword. It will be tough. Let's continue searching and pushed into the pit. Your bleeding hand strikes something positioned close to the edge of the pit, something that feels like a narrow plank. You think you're good fortune, but before you can scramble across it, a blow catches you in the ribs and leaves you gasping for air. Lose 3 endurance points. Well, now we're down to 36 with all that. Starts to be Important. You have been dealt a vicious kick that leaves you sprawled over the edge of the pit. We can try and scramble to our feet and attempt to retaliate against the invisible attacker, or pull ourselves onto the invisible beam and try to struggle across to the other side, or simply dive into the pit. Yeah, if I'm going into the pit, it's by accident. On your fifth step, the silence is broken by another crack. The invisible whip bites into the back of your legs, causing your knees to buckle. You grimace with pain as you stagger forward. Pick a number from the random number table if you have the Magnakai discipline of unmastery. Nope. Oh, the karma bites. If it's 3 to 7, at least it's not the lowest score possible. You slip and fall. Yet miraculously you manage to hang onto the invisible beam. Your legs are staying sorely, lose 2 endurance points, but you ignore the pain. I got 1 in the previous section though. Force yourself to concentrate all of your efforts on swinging them back onto the beam. Just as you succeed, the sharp crack of the whip resounds once more. This time it burns its mark across your back. Lose another 1 endurance point. When the whip cracks a third time, it cuts only air, for you have now managed to crawl beyond range of its cruel bite. Good, booms the voice of Zada as you land on the opposite side of the pit. You are brave, but have you brains as well as battle brawn? I wonder. Ah, soon we shall see. The fell voice conjures an image of Lord Zada in your mind. He is seated on a golden throne with the object of your quest, the Lord Stone of Fairless, suspended in the air above him. You resolve to survive this accursed maze and escape. If you can then find your way back to Zada's throne hall, the success of your quest will be within your grasp. You walk along the passage that leads away from the pit, your mind filled with dismay as you contemplate the problems and the perils that lie before you. One such problem looms into view as the passage takes a sharp turn. You enter a chamber where a tall bronze statue stands upon a marble plinth. You recognize its distinctive headdress and robes. It is the Zakin, a ruler of the desert empire of Vasagonia. The statue is cast in a very distressed pose. Its arms are outstretched in a gesture of hopelessness, and the expression on its face is one of sorrow and deep despair. Beyond the statue, an oval-shaped door is set flush in the wall. You check this door, but discover that it is firmly locked. The mist grows brighter. Once more, the skull appears and speaks, its voice as comforting as a raven's caw. Listen to the Zakin. Ponder what you hear. Give the correct answer. For fear he sheds a tear. The skull disappears into the misty ceiling, and you watch with amazement as the dull bronze lips of the statue begins to move. A harsh voice echoes from deep within its hollow metal body. My daughter has many sisters. As she has brothers, but each of her brothers has twice as many sisters as brothers. So answer me this, wise warrior. How many sons and daughters do I have? Consider your answer carefully, and when you have decided, write down the first number of sons the second has, and then immediately next to it the number of daughters. Now turn to the entry that bears the same two-digit number as your answer. You choose the correct answer to the second's riddle, the text of the section that you turn to will confirm that you are correct. If you answer incorrectly or cannot answer the second's riddle, we have an option. We're not stuck there. Alright, let's see that riddle. So, he has at least one daughter, but she has many sisters. As many sisters as she has brothers. But each of her brothers has twice as many sisters as brothers. Yeah. Let's say that the daughter has two sisters. That means three daughters. And the daughter has as many sisters as she has brothers, which means two brothers. So we have three daughters and two sons. And each brother has twice as many sisters as brothers, which doesn't work because each brother will have one brother, which means two sisters. So it doesn't work. If the daughter has three sisters, she has three brothers. So each brother has four sisters and two brothers each, which means that he will have four daughters and three sons. Let's check again just to be sure. Which number is first? Oh, it's reverse. So 3 sons and 4 daughters. But let's revise this just to be sure. So he has one daughter and many sisters to his daughter. If the daughter has 3 sisters, she has 3 brothers as well, which means he will have 4 daughters and 3 sons. And each brother will have twice as many sisters than brothers. Each brother will have 2 brothers and 4 sisters. Seems to work. So the correct answer should be 34. In reply to your correct answer, This section is the correct answer to the Zaken's riddle in section 100. The oval door emits a click and slowly swings open. You step through and descend the steep ramp to a long corridor, whose walls are covered with what appear to be gigantic cocoons. They stretch away into the distance as far as you can see. The oval door clicks shut, but the clicking continues. It is like an echo. Only it is growing steadily louder. In the gloomy corridor ahead, you can see that something is moving. A huge worm-like creature, with great black eyes and horny mandibles, is slithering towards you. A vile purple froth bubbles from his mouth when it picks up your scent. If you have the Magnakai discipline of animal control, nope. If you have the Magnakai discipline of invisibility, nope. If you have a silver whistle, nope. Well, we have nothing. Relentlessly, the worm moves forward, and you are forced back up the ramp towards the oval door. Yet there is no escape this way. You have no option now but to fight the repulsive creature. An Udagorg. How many HP do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure that we... went to so many sections without any damage. Yeah, that is one at damage. Didn't have time to heal much. This one is fine, so 1, 2, 3, 4 more HP. We're not full, but almost. The Udagorg has a combat skill of 17, which means it's a +6 combat ratio. He went easy on us here. And it has endurance of 17. Should be an easy fight even without a summer sword. This monster is especially susceptible to psychic attack. If you choose to use Mind Blast or Psy Surge during combat, double all endurance points losses sustained by the enemy. Nice. It will be really an easy fight. Combat ratio +6. We need to roll at least 3 or 4 for it to be kind of nice. I guess that only 2 dice will be required here. Oh, those are so bad rolls. Karma is biting back. We're in the maze. 1 and 2. 5 against 4 and 6 against 3. That means 11 against 7. Doubled. It's dead, but we lost 7 endurance points, which is quite a lot. Another quick fight, though. Your killing blow makes the Udagorg twist back on itself, its head disappearing into the misty ceiling. There is a deafening crack as blue lightning engulfs its neck. It writhes snake-like around its horrible body, and the corridor is filled with the harsh smell of burning meat. The creature thrashes wildly for several minutes, and when its gruesome dance of death finally ceases, you see that the canopy of mist is no longer there. In the darkness above, you can now see a deserted walkway and a metal observation platform. We can climb on the body of the dead Udagorg and pull ourselves onto the platform, or climb over the worm-like carcass and continue along the corridor. I think that going higher is a good idea to exit this maze. As you pull yourself onto the cold iron platform, You see the maze spread out below you like the surface of a massive brain. Each chamber resembles a cell populated with perils created by the devilish imagination of Lord Zada. A crisscross of interconnecting walkways is suspended above the maze by gigantic chains that vanish into blackness above. You hurry along the iron path towards a staircase that descends to an arch beyond the boundary wall of the maze. As you run through it, you hear an alarm bell echoing in the vastness above. Your escape has not gone unnoticed. A vaulted corridor lies beyond the arch, which leads to a junction with two exits. If you have the Magnakai discipline of penmanship, nope. You can either then take the passage to the right or the one to the left. Always to the left. Let's go. We're escaping the maze. The passage leads to an enormous compound of cells that hold the slaves of Kazan-Oud. They are, in the main, a pitiful herd of gangling creatures with sorrowful eyes and backs bent crooked by years of hard labor. These prisoners press their sad faces against the tiny grates of their cells, curious to see the unchained warrior who walks upright among them. They hiss as you pass until the entire complex echoes to the sound of their sibilant scorn. At the end of the block there is a cell that resembles a cage, denying its prisoner even the small degree of privacy provided to the others. You stare through the bars at the dark-skinned man sleeping on the straw-covered floor. Oh, that's the brother of the other guy. His plaited pale blonde hair and red and gold tunic are stained with blood and grime. A key to his cell hangs by a cord on a peg driven into the nearby wall. You can take the key and release the guy or leave him undisturbed. Yeah, we need to release that guy. It's the brother of Lord Paido. The sound of the creaking door stirs the man from sleep, and he rolls over and cowers in the corner of his foul-smelling cage. His eyes appear opaque, like balls of frosted glass, and his face and hands are pitted and scarred by disease. If you have the Magnakai discipline of curing, sadly nope. You'll have to make do with this. You need not fear me, you say, in an effort to calm the frightened man. I will not harm you. The soothing sound of your voice makes him stop shaking. He turns his scarred face towards you and asks a question.
The elder Magi sent you here.
Can answer or leave the cell like that and just go away. Yeah, I'm sure it's the brother we need to guy. You tell him of your quest and of the help that the elder Magi have given to enable you to enter Kazan-Oud. When you recount your air voyage to Erdos aboard Lord Paido's skyship, you notice a tear trickle from the blind man's eye.
My name is Kazin,
he says sorrowfully.
Lord Paido is my brother.
Pity fills your heart for this unfortunate warrior, for you know that he is doomed to die. Blindness occurs in the final stage of Takadia, the disease that is ravaging his body.
I am beyond help,
he says, his face lined with pain.
But I can, and I will help your quest, Sky Master. Listen to me carefully. There are stairs at the end of the corridor that lead down to the throne hall of Zada. At the entrance to the hall there is a tapestry behind which you'll find a secret passage. It leads to Zada's throne. Above the throne is the lore stone you are seeking. But beware, Zada has coupled its power to a doomstone from the realm of Naros. Zada draws all his power from this accursed gem. If you are to succeed, you must first destroy the doomstone or you will surely perish. Sadly, I cannot help you escape from Kazan-Oud, for I myself was captured long before I reached the surface. But if you can reach the beach, make your way to the old stone jetty. Beneath the steps is the place where I hid my boat. And if you find my spear on the way, take it with my blessing."
He grips your hand in friendship, his face now calm and peaceful.
"When you return to Elgin, tell my brother that my demise was not been in vain. May the god Sky and Ishir protect you, lone wolf."
The sound of approaching guards forces you to leave the cell. As you close the door, you promise that his bravery will live on forever in the legions of the Vaqueros, his warrior kin. I'm not sure that be able to save him with the curing discipline. Seemed quite far gone. At the end of the cell block corridor, there is a staircase which descends to a lower level. It is guarded by a grim-faced creature armed with an axe. The beastman sees you and it hastily prepares for combat. Beastman Joiler. Okay, so we did 5, 6. We're back to full. Are we? No, we're not. Driller is a combat skill of 17. Senator plus 6 fight in combat ratio. And he has 22 endurance points. We need to win the fight in 3 rounds or less. So let's throw 3 dice right away. Starting to look average and worst. So with a plus 6, 6 is 11 against 1. A 1 is 6 against 4, which means 17, 5. And a 3 is 8, 3, which means 25, 8. It's dead. But we lost 8 endurance points. And we won the fight in 3 rounds exactly. Rolling the body over with the toe of your boot, you quickly check for useful items and discover the following: an axe, a short sword, a dagger, and 2 gold crowns. Well, I'm going to trade the sword for an axe, even if it's not mine. And let's keep the sword actually for the second weapon instead of the bow, just for now. If you have no weapon at all, you feel you must take at least one of these. Yeah, yeah. At the bottom of the stairs, you discover a deserted hallway that leads to 2 great doors of gleaming bronze. Sumptuous tapestries and statuettes of solid gold line the walls on either side of the hallway, and an ornate fountain of silvered marble fills this wide passageway with a melodious bubbling sound. You have covered only a few yards when an armored guard steps into view from behind a fountain. They are armed with a crossbow and they are hurriedly taking aim at your chest. Pick a random number from the random number table. It's 5. If you have the Magnakai discipline of Hunt Mastery, no, or Divination, yes, add 3, so it's 8. It's 3 or higher. Well, quite an easy shot to evade. I should recall what Kazin has said before going too far. Sure. Uh, Stairs. End of corridor. Throne hall. Entrance. Tapestry. Secret passage. Destroy. Doomstone. Good. The guard fires as you run towards them, the sneer on their face belying their confidence that you will soon be a dead man. You twist aside to avoid a lethal bolt, escaping with nothing more serious than a ripped sleeve. This shatters their overconfidence. You attack swiftly and they attempt to parry your first blow with their empty crossbow. Your crushing blow knocks it from their trembling fingers, leaving them without a weapon in hand. Throne all guard. We have 32 endurance points. Has a 14 combat skill, so it's a +9 combat ratio. And he has 22 endurance points like all the other beastmen. Or boarmen. Will be quite an easy fight, I think. Again. Pretty much all that we roll is a good roll, but higher is better. We need, I guess, yeah, at least 2 rolls. 8 and 5. 8 is 18 damage against nothing, and the 5 is 12 against 2. The creature is dead, but we have 2 damage. You win the combat. You hear footsteps on the stairs. More of the enemy are approaching. If they too are armed with crossbows, your chances of survival will be very slim indeed. Before you stand 2 great bronze doors. They are flanked on either side by tapestries and gold statuettes. We can open the doors, examine the tapestries, or stand and fight. Tapestries. Or that is what Kazin said. The tapestries are similar to others that you have seen in the lower levels of Kazan-Oud. They are very beautiful and exceedingly valuable. However, it is what you discover behind them that proves to be of greater interest. They conceal a secret door. Your basic Kai senses alert you to a tiny button set into the wall. You press it and the door slides open to reveal a circular tunnel of gleaming polished steel. Quickly you enter and the door slides shut. Barely moments before the hall is filled with Zada's guards. 50 feet along this gleaming tunnel of steel, you arrive at a circular door set flush into the wall to your left. Do we enter the door or go further along the tube?
Let's check the door first, just in case. You spin a screw-like handle set in the center of the door, releasing the lock. You open the door and enter. Inside, you discover a room of steel. The walls, ceiling, and floor are all constructed of metal plate, which is polished to give a mirror-like shine. Low iron tables are set out with the implements and accessories of magic. Crucibles, retorts, aludels, flasks, and all manner of twisting glass tubes that bubble and seethe with multicolored liquids. Balloon-bound tomes are in crumbling parchments litter the shelves, competing for space with repulsive-looking pink organs floating in glass jars of vile-smelling preservative. Quickly you scan the shelves in search of useful items, and to your delight, rediscover all your confiscated weapons. Re-enter on your action chart everything that was taken from you before you were sent to the maze. If you recover the dagger of Vashna, do not forget to reduce your endurance total by 3 again. Yep. We gained 3 so far. That's 33 minus 3, 30. Okay, let's throw down everything that we found so far in terms of weapons, take back everything else. In addition to your weapons, you discover a large jar of concentrated lump spur. Restores 8 endurance points when consumed after combat. Oh, it's better than the Tonor water. So, let's trade this. Jar of Lumspur plus 8. We're going to regain 6 endurance points. For a total of 36 out of 37. A blue steel spear and a platinum amulet. You wish to take the platinum amulet, mark it on your action chart, special item. It will protect you from injury due to exposure to high temperatures. But we have the Nexus Magnakai Wisdom already. I'd like to bring that home though. I guess I'm going to it hurt to throw the large quiver. The blue spear could be nice too. Too many things. Should I throw the gold key? Will I need it? Let's throw the shield. I can take one at every adventure. Platinum amulet. And I guess that we're going to throw the large quiver. Can we get a large quiver again? I think I bought that. Or throw the gold key. We're almost at the end. Will the gold key be useful or not? Could I take a helmet at the beginning of the book? Equipment. Think not. There was the quiver is free though, not large, but think I'm going to throw away the gold key. Yeah, and take the blue spear. It's a +1 combat skill and +2 against creatures of Agarash the Damned. If you should one day learn Old Kingdom magic, these bonuses are doubled. Oh, could be useful, maybe. Okay, let's go with this. I think I'm going to regret the gold key. Well, elated by the rediscovery of your equipment, you leave the chamber and press on along the shiny steel tube. And I could have left everything there in that little room. It will have been catastrophic. As you're walking, the temperature steadily rises until you are completely bathed in sweat. The steel plates of the tunnel become too hot to touch, and wisps of smoke arise from the soles of your boots. The latter is so hot that it is in danger of igniting. If you have the Magnakai Discipline of Nexus or a Platinum Amulet, I have both right now. After what seems like an hour, but in reality is only a few minutes at the most, the scorching heat subsides and the tunnel air becomes less painful to breathe. You press on and soon arrive at an archway where the shiny steel tube enters a chamber gouged out of solid black iron. Here a spiral staircase ascends to an arch portal. You climb the stairs, peer cautiously through the portal, and see something that sets your pulse racing. Before you stands a gleaming block of solid gold. It is the back of Lord Zada's throne. Above it, hovering motionless in the air, are two perfect crystals. One glows darkly with a halo of black fire, and the other radiates a pure golden light that sends a shiver coursing down your spine. Instinctively, you know that this gold crystal is the object of your quest. It is the lore stone of Erdos. We can reach up and take the lore stone, attack the black crystal, or make a closer examination of the throne. Is there something else to the throne? Cautiously, you walk around the throne with your weapon held in readiness to strike. As you draw level, your heart leaps into your mouth. You are staring into the cold, unblinking eyes of Lord Zada. He sneers heavily as he points a rod of inlaid platinum at your head. If you possess the summer sword. Yeah, perchance we have that. Crackling blue fire leaps from Zada's staff towards you, but you intercept and deflect it upon the blade of the summer sword. The murderous bolt screams away into the dark hall, destroying a whole chair of seats with a thunderous explosion. You will die. Die! Die! Shrieks Zada like a man possessed. He whirls his staff twice about his head before lunging at your face with his clawed tip. Supposedly will be the biggest fight of the night. We're at +15 though. Here. And regained a bunch of HP since then. Yeah, we're back to full HP. Just right there for the fight.
Lord Zeta with the power staff. Combat skill 33, so it's a -2 fight. And he has 45 endurance points. He's more powerful than us. Oh. Lord Zeta is immune to Mind Blast and Size Surge, which means that it's a -4 combat ratio fight. It will be hard. We need to roll at least 6 for it to be a really good roll and hope to win the fight. Can re-roll 1 dice during the fight, maybe at the end if it goes quite awry. I think we can roll safely for yeah, I think 6 dice will be safe. Alright. Okay, all over the place. 8, a good roll. 8 against 1. 9 is 9-0, that's 17-1. 5 is 5-4, that's 22-5. 3 is 3-5, that's 25-10. A 2 is 2-5, that's 27-15. And a 9 is 9-0, so that's 36 against 15. Okay, it's going quite well. Go 1 dice at a time, 1 die at a time. 1. Oh, the dreadful 1. Only 1 damage, but we receive 6 damages. It's really, really winnable anyway. A 6, a good throw. 6 damage against 3 for us. And probably the last roll. Oh, 2, that's so bad. Not enough. Oh yeah, that's just barely enough to kill the guy. Oh, yeah, well. It has been a tough fight. Without a doubt. But victory over Lord Zeta and his power staff. I hope that he dies and he doesn't have a second life or whatever. We're really low with our endurance points. Lord Zeta shrieks an unearthly howl as your killing blow tears open his black heart. He thrusts a pleading, claw-like hand towards the roof and drops heavily to his knees. His dying curse, lust as frothing blood, fills his throat. His left eye gleams brightly for a second and suddenly dies, like a candle flaring in a storm, before being extinguished by the rain. He sways and then falls from the pinnacle to be devoured by the hungry flames of the pit. Hurrying over the throne, you draw back your weapon and strike the black crystal a mighty blow. It splits cleanly in two, releasing its dark power and showering you with hot sparks in the wake of its destruction. If you have won, your platinum amulet vanishes with the terrible magical interference caused by the destruction of the Doomstone. Erase it from your action chart. Okay, well. I hope we won't need a golden key. The riven fragments hurtle into the fiery abyss, and the flames grow strangely quiet. From the depths of the pit, a terrible roar begins to grow in intensity. The pinnacle shakes, and a column of flames lights the entire throne hall as molten lava explodes high into the air. We can take the lore stone and escape into the steel tube, or we can take the lore stone and search for some other way to escape the throne hall. I think that some other way might be good. I like the steel tube lead us to enemies that are waiting for us. You search the gleaming throne and the dais of black iron rock upon which it rests and discover a pentacle carved deep into the gold surface. As you trace its design with your finger, a strange sound grows above the din of destruction. It is like the tinkling of 1,000 tiny bells. In the blackness above the throne, a speckled glow appears. Slowly it descends towards you until a large section of the dais is bathed in a column of shimmering blue light. You reach up and a wave of energy surges through your body. As you close your hand around the lore stone of Erdos, restore your render and score to its original total. Alright, 37. Your senses tingle, and a newfound strength wipes away the fatigue of your terrible ordeal, enabling you to assess the situation anew. The column of light is a magical transporter, a beam in which gravity has been reduced almost to zero. By entering it, you will be drawn towards the surface level of Kazan-Oud. Without hesitation, you pocket the lore stone and step into its magical beam. Chunks of stone and iron are blasted high into the upper reaches of the throne hall by the increasing power of the eruptions. Boulders some the size of horses seem to tumble in slow motion all around the cerulean beam as you are drawn irresistibly nearer to the roof. Then the beam fades and you find yourself standing on a circular plinth in the center of a ruined temple near to the gatehouse of the castle keep. The glare of daylight blinds you, but as your eyes gradually become accustomed to it, you cast your gaze over the shimmering waters of Lake Kor to the town of Erdos, perched on the far horizon. The walls of the fortress are beginning to crack and slant. Buildings are crumbling and the ground is alive with violent vibrations. You run through the ruined main gate as great bolts of lightning are drawn from the sky by the dying power of Kazan-Oud. At the top of a ruined staircase, you stare down at the lake far below. You can descend the steps to the old jetty, or make your way down to the beach, or dive from the cliff. There's a boat waiting at the jetty. The boat of Kazin. You are forced to cut your way through the horde of creatures that huddles on the steps leading to the jetty. Loathsome beings are crawling out of the ground itself. Everywhere you look, black slimy ants are bursting through the surface, squeezing their way free from Kazan-Oud through the scores of fissures that they are opening up in the sheer rock wall. Near to the base of the steps, you are dragged to the ground by a clutch of gruesome slaves. They pay dearly for their mistake, but not before you lose significant parts of your equipment. Pick a number from the random number table. 1. If the number you picked is equal to or lower than the number of items you are carrying in your backpack is torn from your shoulders. Erase your backpack and all that it contained from your action chart. Damn. If the number you picked is higher than the number of items you are carrying in your backpack, your belt pouch, and your air pouch, if you have one, are torn from your waist. So we lost our whole backpack with the sumptuous jar of Flumspur looking glass, the pouch of herbs, Wow, I shouldn't have deleted that though. When you reach the jetty, you are covered from head to toe in the fetid blood of your foes. The sight of you is now so frightening that all resistance melts away. Creatures hurl themselves into the lake rather than face the fearsome straight-bagged slayer of their subterranean kin. Beneath the jetty steps you discover an arch. It is sealed off at one end and has a weed-encrusted stone door at the other. Inside you find a small wicker coracle and a paddle. Having fought off most of the determined of Kazan-Oud's horrors, you launch the coracle into the choppy water, jump aboard, and paddle frantically towards the distant glimmer of the power shield. As you make good your escape, the deafening death cries of Kazan-Oud echo in your ears. You may wish to note you have visited the Isle of Kor for future reference. If you possess a power key, turn immediately to the end of the book. And it says that if you do not have the special item, you are unable to leave the boiling water surrounding the Isle of Kor, and are soon swept overboard to drown in the great waves that the destruction of Kazan-Oud causes. So we will have finished the adventure, but died here. But we still have the power key, because perchance we stopped at the oval door in the steel tube before going to the throne hall, or rather the throne room itself. Or here is the end of the adventure, shorter than the other one, but way better than Kingdom of Horrors, more fun-packed, really a great book. As soon as you have passed through the power shield, you are greeted like a hero by a huge flotilla of fishing vessels and trading barges. An hour ago, upon seeing the eruption of Kazan-Oud, every boat in Erdos set sail for the shield, for the eruption signaled the end of the bane that has haunted this sea for hundreds of years. Now they cheer the Sommlending warrior who has delivered them from the evil shadow that has damned this sea for so long. Eager hands pull you aboard Lord Arden's caravel, and a fanfare salute is sounded by the trumpeteers of his Vaqueros guard. The Vaqueros will grant you the rare exception of keeping any blue steel weapon you may have discovered, a rare honor granted only due to your victory over the forces of Kazan-Oud. We are forever in your debt, Lone Wolf, says Lord Arden, as he shakes your hand warmly in gratitude and friendship. You have achieved what we feared to be impossible, and you live to tell the tale. Your bravery is an inspiration to us all. His words are reinforced by the delirious cheers of his people. He asks of your own quest, and when you remove the lore stone of Erdos from the pocket of your tattered and scorched tunic, his eyes widen with amazement. He bows his head and says in a sullen and respectful voice, Lone Wolf, you stand upon the threshold of greatness. Your purpose and your destiny are known to the elder Magi, for we have awaited your coming for hundreds of years. Our survival and the survival of all we cherish rest upon the success of your Magnakai quest. Time has come, honored Kai Master, for you to learn our wisdom
For we are of the same blood, you and I, and our fate is bound together. We will prepare you for the next stage of your noble quest. The lore stone you must find exists in the land that was once our home, in the temple that was once our most sacred place of worship, the chamber where our master, the god Kai, first appeared to us. Your quest has succeeded, and the strength and wisdom of the lore stone of Erdos is now part of your body and spirit. Yet there is much for you to learn from the Elder Magi, as they prepare you for the most challenging of the Magnakai quests that you have yet to attempt. It is a quest that will take you deep into the hostile swamps of the Danarg, where the evil creatures of Agarash the Damned still thrive and dominate the land. If you have the courage of a true Kai Master, the secrets of the Elder Magi and the perils of the Danarg await you in the Jungle of Horrors. Next week, same time, same channel.